Facebook. I'm good for you. Hi, hungry. I'm Sean.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Sean.
I need my Gringo hat and a beer.
Let's rock.
Welcome to this edition of the Super Gringo Podcast, the one podcast the loony left can't get canceled because I don't fucking live there. I had another loony leftist try to sell me on socialism, and when I started posting history, they blocked me. What are your sources? A history book, Sling Blade. Try opening one, dumbass.
Damn, an imbecile. Like the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived. Everybody knows you never go full retard. You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
One of my favorite arguments they try to use is that America won't trade with these countries. They've embargoed them. So you're saying socialism won't work without capitalism. Fuck you, fascist! And then they blocked me. I'm not the one trying to censor free speech and burn down neighborhoods. Google Knights of the Broken Glass.
Cercado de idiotas da porra.
Which means surrounded by fucking idiots. I've had a couple rhinos going on about how they hate Trump and I'm Adolf. You ever notice how close these rhinos sound to actual loony leftists? I'm not a leftist! Then stop sounding like one. Because I like more money in my check, I'm Adolf. I used to put a lot more evidence and videos in the podcast, but fuck it. nobody listens anyway. Fuck y'all. Not you guys, but the loony left cult. I'm just going to tell them what fucking idiots they are. Someone posted on Instaface, as Jimmy calls it, a pronoun chart with XX and XY. Seems pretty self-explanatory to me. Some loony leftist replied, sometimes it's not that easy.
Bullshit.
Yes it is. PP, he, him. No PP, she, her. Remember my virtues of the woke list? Well, I renamed it because holy fuck, it's a cult. So now it's called You're in a Cult If, and it has grown. They don't learn, even when I show them how stupid what they're doing looks on paper. Let's go through the lunacy, shall we? What's up, Grumpy? You believe you are what your imagination says you are. Delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. You believe obedience is strength. You believe bravery is dangerous. You believe victimizing yourself is powerful. You believe self-responsibility is someone else's responsibility. You believe reality isn't real. Delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. You believe giving a baby a death sentence out of convenience perfectly fine, believing there's a mythical right somewhere in the Constitution. Delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. Putting a convicted murderer to death after a trial and conviction, just too much. We'll use the euphemism fetus to hide the fact that it's a baby. I actually have that sound effect. I should have put it in there. Yeah, they're delusional. Yeah, let me keep going with this because holy fuck. And to do this, they had to display this behavior at least 3 times to establish a behavior. Fetus, noun, an offspring of a human or other mammal in the stages of prenatal development that follow the embryo stage. You will utter the words over and over, follow the science, all while ignoring science. Thanks to Jamie Lee Curtis, who didn't know how many Oscars she'd won, they them can't count. You will riot and protest to take a real black woman off a syrup bottle and a Quaker off a box of oats named Quaker Oats, only to put a fake white woman on a beer can, all while saying, I can't believe they're so upset over a beer can. Bud Light parent Anheuser-Busch's stock has lost $27 billion over Dylan Mulvaney. You will call it bias that someone writes down the stupid shit you do after 3 times. If you get triggered because someone doesn't think you're special because you were born into one of the CRT-approved victim groups, they believe deeds and personal responsibility warrant pride. Someone has to explain to you things you can be proud of. I served my country for 23 years, retired, wrote a couple books, raised 4 kids, can keep my sex life to myself, and graduated college with a 3.9 GPA. So what are you proud of? Loony leftist. Well, I gobble cock or eat the veg and tell kids about it.
You sick freak! I picked up a
Once upon
Are you fucking getting it yet?
We'll call someone a bigot because they don't bow down to the alphabet mafia. Maybe that's why you tell kids. Kids might be impressed. Loony leftist. Why can't you just leave us alone? Well, using children and so never tell anyone anything they're proud of. Will just be triggered that people don't bow down to the alphabet mafia. Will insult someone's accomplishments when CRT is all you have. Lost your shit over To Kill a Mockingbird in Huckleberry Finn, but are screaming about banning books with oral sex and masturbation in school libraries. Will add 666 to your username on your social media profile just to try and shock people, unlike the other 1,000 people that have 666 on their username profile. What's hilarious, you're the ones who always bring religion into any discussion about grooming kids. Will lie, even with irrefutable evidence. Being so filled with hate, you will groom, mutilate, and murder your own children, all while calling your opposition fascists. Believe that out of 7 billion people on the planet, white, straight males are somehow oppressing everyone else. Will lose your shit when someone points out that you're not oppressed, you're just stupid. Will call Republicans racist while thousands of young black men die in Chicago and New Orleans who haven't elected a Republican mayor since 1870 and 1932, respectively. Will refer to a biology book as right-wing propaganda. Will lose your shit if someone actually uses proper English instead of your made-up pronouns. You will use a stupid emoji or meme when confronted with common sense and facts. You've been normalizing mental illness for decades, but you believe it's a gun problem, not a mental health problem. Run around screaming, "That wasn't real socialism!" When you can't counter my copy and paste, you'll just use the words copy and paste over and over. Will set fire to someone's business while calling them a fascist. Are the same people who say you can't indoctrinate kids to be gay with a book or a drag show, but continually accuse the church of doing that very thing, although religion isn't taught in schools and you're not forced to go to church. When someone is simply talking science and common sense, you will try to bring religion into it. Well, you know, the church. Well, then don't go to church. It's not against the law. Not going to school is. Will use unrelated behavior to justify their sick grooming behavior. Will call someone triggered while insulting them because you're triggered. Triggered. Cause to feel an intense and unusually negative emotional reaction. Oh yeah, and the dogs come out. It's not just one person triggered, it's like a pack. You will scream January 6th while setting fire to someone's business. You resort to insults as you can't handle the truth. Delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. Patients with schizophrenia may show dysfunctional impulsivity and impulsive aggression. We're not grooming kids! Will lose your shit when someone calls you woke, and to prove you're not, you do the things on this list over and over and over. Will accuse your opposition of that which you are guilty. You think wearing a mask to hide your face in your profile picture doesn't make you look stupid at all. We'll call someone a racist for telling you not to burn down shit, because the loony left likes to burn shit down. We'll call science hate speech. Facebook. It will not occur to you that if people can simply copy and paste their counter arguments, you might be programmed, like in a cult. We'll call someone of color or someone married to someone of color a bigot. Consider chemically castrating a pedophile horrible and inhumane, but chemically castrating a child just dandy. You believe Joe Biden is a good president and isn't corrupt at all, when any other topic in this list besides politics is mentioned, you bring up Trump. I've had some idiot going on and on and on about abortion, some mystical right that people have. DNA is just DNA. It doesn't make you alive.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
All right. Abortion is getting rid of DNA out of convenience. Fine by me. Let's apply that across the fucking board. There are a bunch of fucking idiots who who should be very fucking afraid.
And I'll finish you quick. I promise you won't have to find out what your left ball tastes like.
All we have to do is tweak the penal code to reflect that disposing of DNA out of convenience is not a crime. They ignore science to further their cause. Why can't we? How about we make it legal for everyone?
This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge sanctioned by the U.S. government. Weapons of Class 4 and lower have been authorized for use during the purge. All other weapons are restricted. Government officials of ranking 10 have been granted immunity from the purge and shall not be harmed. Commencing at the siren, any and all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 continuous hours. Police, fire, and emergency medical services will be unavailable until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. when the purge concludes. Blessed be our new founding fathers and America, a nation reborn. May God be with you all.
I like it!
Let's rock.
That would mean evolution that they fought so hard to be taught would be a moot subject to teach, as we all supposedly evolved from a single cell life form. That would mean it's not a life form. I don't care, but let's apply it across the fucking board. Getting rid of DNA out of convenience should apply to everyone. And if that were the case, I know a lot of dumb DNA that wouldn't be here. This person had some strange fascination with sperm. He said it like 5 times. Well, sperm has DNA. Could it be he was smelling his breath in his mask and that popped into his head? Anyway, a quick class. Sperm plus egg equals unique DNA. A whole other bunch of cells. In his case, that probably should have been swallowed. I'm not against killing. I like the idea of purges. You couldn't do it all at once, though. And maybe by county or by voting districts. Sell it on pay-per-view to other districts until it's their turn. Of course, places like California and Chicago have the advantage. They've been doing purges for years. I'm all for weeding out the worthless. Everyone would participate, especially government. I bet buy rates on pay-per-views would even beat the Super Bowl.
Let's rock.
One of the crazy things the loony left loves to do, what are your sources? And Jim can tell you, barn talking, I have fucking sources. 10 sources later, propaganda! I spent an hour listening to some fucking wonder tard who was upset with me calling the cult that is gender ideology delusional. If you're a man who thinks he's a woman, you're fucking delusional. Delusional. Characterized by or holding false beliefs, or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary. For instance, you have a dick, typically as a symptom of mental condition. Straight from the DSM-5 minus the dick. The same book with gender dysphoria in it. I'm the greatest female swimmer in the world!
Well, what the fuck?
But you're a dude. That would be fucking delusional. This went on for an hour. Give me a scientific source that gender dysphoria is delusional. Okay. Delusional. Characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. And then I would quote a biology book about the definition of a man and woman. I don't think it's necessary here. Again, it said, give me a scientific source that gender dysphoria is delusional. Delusional! Characterized by holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. I asked, can a man become a woman? They said no, to their credit. I said, then believing that you are would be delusional. Yep, I want my reparations too. Unfortunately, I live in Brazil where half the population is of, color anyway, although I'm a bigot. I'll get to that later. I said, then believing that you are would be delusional. Their response, nobody believes that, not even the trans.
World-class designer bullshit.
Then why are they competing in women's sports? Why are they going in women's spaces? It's a fucking cult. Fully brainwashed and delusional. I found this online, and it describes the cult that is the Democrat Party perfectly. You notice I don't do transitional material. They've always been a hate group. They just know enough to evolve what they tell their cult members to hate based on the money. The Democrat Party is the world's most successful hate group. It attracts poor people who hate rich people, black people who hate white people, gay people who hate straight people, feminists who hate men, environmentalists who hate the internal combustion engine, and a lot of bratty college kids who hate their parents. However, the real secret of the party's success is that it attracts the supportive journalists who hate Republicans, and who therefore work tirelessly to convince the rest of us that we should vote for Democrats.
The media are almost literally exploding with bullshit.
Oh yeah, and the next time one of these loony leftists goes on about gun control, I'm just going to say 3 things. Hunter fucking Biden. Nothing more, nothing else needs to be said. Then we have the snowflake loony leftist calling me and my wife, a Native American and a Brazilian, racist. You do realize what you fucking idiots look like to me and my wife when you do that. Then the loony leftist, not knowing actual history, posted this on Fuckbook. So I offered to fix their meme with the truth.
Release the hounds.
They lost their shit. One fucking genius had the nerve to say that Northern Democrats fought Southern Democrats to end slavery.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
This is why I drink. This person was supposedly college educated. In other words, CRT educated. There's a reason they want to erase the real racist history of America. If it's taught the way it actually happened, the Democrats come off looking like world-class assholes. If this assertion were correct, that Republicans were racist and Democrats loved minorities, then Chicago would be the most equitable and least racist city in the country, since they haven't elected a Republican since 1932. Where was this picture taken? Alabama? Mississippi? Nope. Chicago in the 1950s. Between 1881 and 1951, the Democrat Party lynched an estimated 4,000 to 5,000 black Americans and their supporters. Might I recommend the movie Mississippi Burning, just to get an idea of their level of hate. Those fucking Republicans. I'm really getting the difference between third world and first world. First world, what are my pronouns today? Third world, what am I going to eat today? First world, they're going to make me carry this baby to full term if I don't kill it before it has a heartbeat. Third world, I hope the hospital doesn't run out of medicine for my sick baby. First world, socialism is better than capitalism. Third world, I hope this styrofoam cooler stays afloat until I reach Florida. First world, my professor says I'm oppressed because I identify as pansexual. Third world, I can't go to our free college because our school system is so bad I can barely read and write. So, if you live in the United States and you're complaining, why don't you voluntarily trade places with one of the many Venezuelans waiting at the border to get in? O cala poja de boca, which means, or shut the fuck up. So, I triggered another one of the abortion cultists. This one so triggered, he's giving me an or else on the internet. You will use the proper terms from now on, boy.
I picked up a Kaiser blade that is sitting there by the screen door. Some folks call it a sling blade. I call it a Kaiser blade.
Do you ever notice the people who are for abortion are already alive? Some of them shouldn't be. They can never point out the article in the Constitution covering killing the baby. I like the part where he called me boy over and over. I wanted to ask him, how do you know what gender I am? Maybe I identify as a non-binary alien from the planet fuck off. Imagine being so filled with hate that the thought of not being able to kill your own child is offensive to you. It's your kid. Number 20. You're in a cult if you're so filled with hate that you will groom, mutilate, and murder your own child, all while calling your opposition fascists. Okay, I don't know if they don't know, but the loony left keep posting pictures of the Confederate flag to point out the racism of the Republicans. Do they realize that the Confederates were Democrats? Then they go on about some mythical party switch. All right, then explain New Orleans, who hasn't elected a Republican mayor since 1870. Then you have the nerve to tell me to look deep inside to find my racism. How about you go outside from your mom's basement and get a tan there, snowflake? There's so much racism in the United States, you cultist snowflakes have to invent it. Math is racist, dieting is racist, tests are racist. I wonder, is kissing my ass racist?
Fuck off past the deer stand.
As for the party switch myth and the modern Democrat plantation, have a listen to this.
Once upon a time, every student of history, and that meant pretty much everyone with a high school education, knew this. The Democratic Party was the party of slavery and Jim Crow, and the Republican Party was the party of emancipation and racial integration. Democrats were the Confederacy and Republicans were the Union. Jim Crow Democrats were dominant in the South and socially tolerant Republicans were dominant in the North. But then, in the 1960s and 70s, everything supposedly flipped. Suddenly the Republicans became the racists and the Democrats became the champions of civil rights. fabricated by left-leaning academic elites and journalists. The story went like this. Republicans couldn't win a national election by appealing to the better nature of the country. They could only win by appealing to the worst. Attributed to Richard Nixon, the media's all-purpose bad guy, this came to be known as the Southern Strategy. It was very simple. Win elections by winning the South. And to win the South, appeal to racists. So, the Republicans, the party of Lincoln, were to now be labeled the party of rednecks. But this story of the two parties switching identities is a myth. In fact, it's three myths wrapped into one false narrative. Let's take a brief look at each myth in turn. Myth number 1. In order to be competitive in the South, Republicans started to pander to white racists in the 1960s. Fact: Republicans actually became competitive in the South as early as 1928, when Republican Herbert Hoover won over 47% of the South's popular vote against Democrat Al Smith. In 1952, Republican President Dwight Eisenhower won the southern states of Tennessee, Florida, and Virginia. And in 1956, he picked up Louisiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia, too. And that was after he supported the Supreme Court decision in Brown v. Board of Education that desegregated public schools, and after he sent the 101st Airborne to Little Rock Central High School to enforce integration. Myth number 2. Southern Democrats, angry with the Civil Rights Act of 1964, switched parties. Fact: of the 21 Democratic senators who opposed the Civil Rights Act, just one became a Republican. The other 20 continued to be elected as Democrats, or were replaced by other Democrats. On average, those 20 seats didn't go Republican for another 2.5 decades. Myth number 3. Since the implementation of the Southern Strategy, the Republicans have dominated the South. Fact: Richard Nixon, the man who is often credited with creating the Southern Strategy, lost the Deep South in 1968. In contrast, Democrat Jimmy Carter nearly swept the region in 1976, 12 years after the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And in 1992, over 28 years later, Democrat Bill Clinton won Georgia, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia. The truth is, Republicans didn't hold a majority of Southern congressional seats until 1994, 30 years after the Civil Rights Act. As Kevin Williamson of the National Review writes, if Southern rednecks ditched the Democrats because of a civil rights law passed in 1964, it is strange that they waited until the late 1980s and early 1990s to do so. They say things move slower in the South, but not that slow. So, what really happened? Why does the South now vote overwhelmingly Republican? Because the South itself has changed. Its values have changed. The racism that once defined it doesn't anymore. Its values today are conservative ones, pro-life, pro-gun, and pro-small government. And here's the proof. Southern whites are far more likely to vote for a black conservative, like Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, than a white liberal. In short, history has moved on. Like other regions of the country, the South votes values, not skin color. The myth of the Southern Strategy is just the Democrats' excuse for losing the South, and yet another way to smear Republicans with the label racist. Don't buy it. I'm Carol Swain, professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University.
I just heard the best description of the modern plantation from Dinesh D'Souza. I couldn't have laid it out any better. As you're listening to this, remember when AOC didn't want Amazon to come to New York City? Something that Charles Barkley, the basketball player, commented on, and he's talking about the present, not about the past. A very interesting parable. Barkley goes, I've been noticing that poor people have been voting for the Democratic Party for 50 years, and they're still poor. Now what's he getting at? I think what he's saying is that what we have seen in Detroit, St. Louis, and in Baltimore, in the inner cities of this country. A kind of revival of the old. Well, it's a new form of the old plantation, and what I mean by that is if you think of the plantation as people living in complete dependency. They can't get off the plantation. Now they get their basic provisions on the plantation, but it's very meager, but nevertheless it's enough to sustain you, and you're there and you're stuck. Now, I'm not saying that the inner city is the same. Obviously it's not the same. People aren't being forced to work against their will. In fact, a lot of them aren't working, but there is a certain kind of frozenness to the plantation. And what I notice is very bizarre and very telling is that when there are efforts to change the plantation, they are vigorously fought by progressives and progressive Democrats. So for example, in a lot of inner cities now, there are these gentrification movements in which yuppies come in with technology companies and they say, all right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put in all these new buildings, we're going to create all these new jobs, we're going to open Starbucks, we're going to create all this enterprise, and we're going to make this into a kind of enterprise zone of productivity and prosperity. And we're also going to pay money to the people who are in there now, so they can move elsewhere or stay here, and if they stay here there will be more jobs and better food, and we're going to clean up the place, and crime rates will go down. Progressive Democrats will inevitably mobilize and fight desperately to block these gentrification schemes. More jobs, more prosperity, less crime, safer neighborhoods. What's not to like? And if you have to move, your property values have gone up already enormously, so you can sell and cash out and move where you want. But no, you have to fight these progressive Democrats. Why? Because you can't disrupt the plantation.
Once upon a time,
From Dinesh to the place, and crime rates will go down. Progressive Democrats will inevitably mobilize and fight desperately to block these gentrification schemes. More jobs, more prosperity, less crime, safer neighborhoods. What's not to like? And if you have to move, your property values have gone up already enormously, so you can sell and cash out and move where you want. But no, you have to fight these progressive Democrats. Why? Because you can't disrupt the plantation. The plantation has its uses. There are different forms of exploitation. If you have figured out a way to create a political class that you depend on politically, that's delivering 90% of its votes to you, and if any of those guys got jobs and moved out, they would no longer be beholden to you. That's not a very good situation, and it bears an uncanny resemblance to the policies of the past. The name of that political class? The victims of the Democratic playing card deck. This group makes up the core of the voting element as far as the Democratic Party goes, and thus helps the most to promote the leftist cause. These are the people who think they've been wrong or disadvantaged, or have been told that they've been wronged or disadvantaged.
BLM.
By politicians or by academia, the intellectual left. They're also being told that the opposing party are out to wrong them and disadvantage them even further. These are the things commonly referred to as playing the race, age, gender, or class card. This is used the most by liberals, so get ready to hear a lot of it. It works, it is effective, and this second group of people, the victims, fall for it very easily. As a result, they become slaves of the liberal mindset. Pun intended. Look no further than how the progressive Democrats try to scare African Americans into believing that conservatives are holding them down, how the progressive Democrats try to scare middle-class Americans into thinking conservatives are hurting the middle class, and how the progressive Democrats try to scare women into thinking conservatives are against their rights.
You have no right. You have no other rights than what's in the Constitution, so...
Progressive Democrats also frequently try to scare senior citizens into thinking conservatives want to destroy Social Security.
They say it every year, and by the way, Social Security is projected to go bankrupt by 2038. Another failed socialist program.
Look at the key words mentioned in these accusations: against, holding down, hurting, destroying. In essence, it is fear-mongering targeted at certain groups of people in society, and it works. These progressive Democrats and leftists attempt to spin the issues into backing up this fear-mongering, and people listen to it. And as a result, this entire second group is formed, the victims of the Democratic playing card deck. These people often do not know much about the issues, especially as far as fact and reality goes. What they do think they know, however, is that conservatives are completely against them and trying to hold them down, or their issue in general. They believe the way they do because of the total spin and fear-mongering they hear from progressive Democrat leaders. They then go out and vote for these said progressive Democrats, and become strong leftists, mostly out of fear and loathing of the other side, values instilled into them. Furthermore, they become very likely to start calling conservatives bigots and racists, because of the lies that the liberal left has drilled into their heads. And yet, they'll remain just as poor, nothing will change, and they'll probably die on the progressive Democrat plantation.
Are you fucking getting it yet?
So anyone want to talk about anything before I get off here? By the way, just so you know, I literally just had one of those loony leftists block me after they posted their something about the Confederate flag. They actually had a Confederate flag and a camel in their profile picture. And I said something, it was from an earlier post I posted about the Civil War. I said if we had killed all the Confederates, we wouldn't be dealing with the Democrat Party now. And they got upset, and I started posting. Of course, Barn Talking or Jimmy can tell you I have fucking sources out the fucking yin yang. I do my research. Every time a loony, you know what you do is you just wait for a loony leftist to say something fucking stupid. You write it down, and then you go look it up. And, well, I knew about the Confederacy before because I took fucking high school history. But he was upset that I pointed out that the Confederates were Democrats. Of course, in his profile picture, or his profile listing, he said he was from Soviet Russia and he lived in China. So I assume he doesn't live he's not from Russia, and because he doesn't speak Russian, I tested that. And he does not live in China because he's one of those either college or high school educated CRT fucking retards, drones, that his parents should be at the school going, why can't my son pass basic history? So, who wants to, anyway, yeah, these people are just not wrapped the most tightest. I see, like, grumpy farmers going on, like, supposedly we have white privilege, but Grumpy Farmer is asking for he's a black trans farmer, but you got to include black trans with either trans. I would recommend trans woman, because if you put woman in there, you get extra points on that CRT victim group shit. They have like a chart, I guess. So if you put black trans woman farmer, then you get you'll score extra points. Like me and my wife, we're not in the victim, I guess. We're bigots, I guess. Although I'm Native American and she's Brazilian, we're bigots because we don't judge people by their skin color. We judge them by their character. And guess what? Some of you need fucking Jesus. Holy fuck, are you stupid? Saúde. Stop talking. My wife is like, she doesn't understand English, so she doesn't understand. I'm telling all you people, you need fucking Jesus. Some of you need Jesus. If you're telling little kids about, or I'm an author, okay, and it has never occurred to me, ever, to write a book, a children's book, about what I do with my pee-pee. It just this is awesome. You know, Mike, you're in a cult. If I just got this, are you in a cult? You sure sound like it. Oh, wait a minute. Now, which one is accused? I got to look up accused. That's the great thing about accused. About this is, I don't have to do anything but copy and paste, which they don't get, that if someone can counter your arguments with just copy and paste, perhaps you're programmed and it just go because I don't have to think, because you do the same shit every time. It's called programming. It's like in the Army. If everybody knew what we were going to do, like lay down a base of fire and then flank, which everybody knows, why wouldn't they counter that? Well, there's other elements to it, but yeah, that's what we do. You sound like you're in a cult. Number 39. Accused your opposition of that which you are guilty.
Le who? The her.
Exactly. But yeah, I've got chat up here, so if someone wants to come in and chat, I'm here. For a while, anyway, I'm bored. I have no idea. Trust me, if you have internet, see, that's the thing about the internet. People have always been stupid. That's what people don't get. People have always been stupid, but with the being in a cult, no, wait a minute. They just said, but you're the one who accused people, let me see, but you're the one who accused your opponent of being it, which would mean, yes, you are. What's a woman? And I'm just going to type back, what's a woman? No. Well, actually, I got a better question. Is Joe Biden a good president? Question mark. There. See? You see how that works now? This is the internet. And it comes up on my, you probably hear it dinging. It's the cult. It's the fucking cult. Which one is that? 46? 46, I think, is you think Joe Biden is a good president. That would be because it's delusional. Maybe I need to add delusional to my fucking soundboard, because holy fuck. Okay. Okay, comma. What's a woman? Question mark. What's a woman? So, he said, I don't, what did he write? I don't care if he is or not, irrelevant to me, which tells me he's probably a foreigner. He looks like a fucking douche. Got a bunch of Brazilian jiu-jitsu on it, but he's not Brazilian. Not that you can actually tell a Brazilian, but someone else is laying into him now. I'm literally on my podcast. Thank you for giving me content. I'm literally on my podcast, comma, live streaming, comma. Thank you for giving me cult content, comma, to prove my point, period. I'm literally on my podcast, live streaming. Thank you for giving me content, cult content. cult content to prove my point. Thank you for giving me cult content to prove my point. Anyway, and it won't occur to him that, wait a minute, he's just copying and pasting. You realize I'm copying and pasting because you're programming. So we'll wait and see if something pops up. I wish we could get more people in here. Holy fuck. You people, they like, oh, wait a minute, let me see.
Você arrota vagabunda.
You know what that means? I'll give you a quick Portuguese lesson. Do you know what that means?
Você arrota vagabunda.
Probably not. It means sperm burping gutter slut in Portuguese. They don't really, it doesn't translate perfectly, but it's close. How about this one? How about this one? Here's a good one.
Você bicha de neve siberiana.
Let me see. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. We got one. Oh, here we go. Your podcast. How many people are listening? 1 or 2? I can't possibly imagine it's 3. Okay, let me see. Which one? I got to go down to. We'll resort to insults. Insults. Because they can't handle the truth. Oh, no. There we go. Insults. I got to find it. Resort to. Will resort to. You resort to insults. You're in a cult because. Will resort to insult. Yeah. Insulting my podcast. Let me see. What did he write? He wrote, your podcast. How many people are listening? 1 or 2? I can't possibly imagine it's 3. I'd be totally shocked. And I'm going to post. I can't remember that. You resort to insults as you can handle the truth. Delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality. Copying and pasting. Let me see. You're indoctrinated. Let me see. You're so indoctrinated, lots of laughs. It's sad. You probably ask yourself and everyone you know, what's a woman? Do you like Joe Biden? Blah, 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 blah. Get a life, buddy. Let me see. And I could just post the same thing over and over on that one. Yes. He's upset that, I don't know if he's upset I don't bow down to the alphabet mafia, or is it that I have no idea. That updated, you're in a cult, will be up on my Facebook page as well. But, so, yeah, it's 50, yeah, not quite an hour. But, these people, I'm waiting. Blah, blah, blah. I'm just waiting for ding now. I wish I could actually, maybe I could. I don't know if I could do it while I'm live streaming, though, and I don't want to risk it. But, yes, they're so, upset that, they're indoctrinated. I'm copying and pasting. He's babbling, insulting people, which, I've covered all of it. Let me see. Yeah, still nothing more. Anyway, I've destroyed, what else can I, they're not hell, they're oh, here's a good one.
Whoever coined the phrase, let the buyer beware, was probably bleeding from the asshole.
And the only reason I did that one was the government. It is literally, it should be the government's motto, not e pluribus unum. How about bleeding from rectum would be a better. And he's back. I see. Let's see. Handle that. What truth? If you're in a cult, yes, you are, and it takes place in your head. How many people? Let me see. Podcast. Paste. All I can do is. What did he posted? Laugh my ass off. Oh my God, lots of laugh. Handle what truth? If you're in a cult, yes, you are, and it takes place in your head. How many people are watching your podcast at the moment? Tell me, since you're so concerned about the truth. And I just posted number 40. What is it again? Let me see. 37. You resort to insults as you can't handle the truth. Delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. Patients with schizophrenia may show dysfunctional impulsivity and impulsive aggression. Yeah, I think maybe I'll just cut that down to, let me see. Patients with schizophrenia, yeah, I think I'm just going to, patients with schizophrenia will, there we go, yeah, cut it down, because really don't have to go into the full, like you're a fucking moron. But, yeah, I let him know he's on my podcast, so, and he's like, whatever. I wish I could get him on. I'm trying to figure out how to get people on here in video form so we can record it or actually do it live, whatever. But I love when they threaten me on here, which is like the abortion guy, or else. Boy, you're going to use the right words, boy, which to me is like the way he wrote it, it came across as or else, and I'm like, what?
I don't like your jerk-off name. I don't like your jerk-off face. I don't like your jerk-off behavior, and I don't like you. Jerk-off.
Maybe I'll send him the link to this live stream. And he can come in and he can babble his little fucking ass off over here if he'd like. Copy link. There we go. And it'll give me some content, some free content. There we go. Let me see, where is he? Yeah, fucking dumbass. Luckily, it didn't go to like the thousands of... let's see, here we go. Paste. There you go. You can come on over and have a little chat. So I sent him the link. Oh, I don't know if you can see that, but that's fucking funny. Oh, shit. But yeah, if you have internet and the phone, you have the method to make a show. Because the thing about, people have always been stupid. But the internet gave them the ability to go fucking international.
Oh, right! To call you stupid would be an insult to stupid people!
So I just sent him the link. Maybe he'll come over. I don't know if he will. I don't give a fuck. He probably won't because they do not want to be confronted with common sense. Where's he?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Yeah, I hope it does. I hope he comes over, and I'll fuck with him the whole time. It makes a good show. It makes a better show. Nobody ever comes over if I just invite them. I have to... Actually, nobody comes over, ever. Let me play something for you. This is funny.
And then we have political correctness, which is this joy that is the other side of health and safety, which is a small oppression of our physical movement, so we can't do anything without permission from the state. And political correctness is the oppression of our intellectual movement, so no one says anything anymore in case somebody else gets offended. What happens if you say that and someone gets offended? Well, they can be offended. What's wrong with being offended? When did sticks and stones made break my bones stop being relevant? Isn't that what you teach children, for God's sake? That's what you teach toddlers. He called me an idiot. Don't worry about him. He's a dick. Now you have adults going, I was offended, and I have rights. Well, so what? Be offended. Nothing happens. You're an adult. Grow up. Deal with it. I was offended. I don't care. Nothing happens when when you're offended. There's nothing. I went to the comedy show, and the comedian said something about the Lord, and I was offended. And when I woke up in the morning, I had leprosy. Nothing happens. I want to live in democracy, but I never want to be offended again. Well, you're an idiot. How do you make a law about offending people? How do you make it an offence to offend people? Being offended is subjective. It has everything to do with you as an individual, or a collective, or a group, or a society, or a community, your moral conditioning, your religious beliefs. What offends me may not offend you, and you want to make laws about this? I'm offended when I see boy bands, for God's sake. It's a valid offence. I'm offended. They're corporate shills posing as musicians to further a modelling career, and frankly, I'm disgusted. Right? But what am I going to do? Call the cops? Hello, it's me again. They're on the telly this time. 5 of them, that's it. Yeah, white suits dancing like girls, that's them. 5 minutes, I'll be out the front traumatised. Bye.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming over. I wish he would. Just so I can fuck with him.
That's what I thought. You're a gutless turd.
Yeah. There's a lot of them out there, too. I'm waiting for one of them to come over.
Are you gonna bark all day, little doggy? Or are you gonna bite?
Oh my God. So, nobody has anything to say. Oh, what do we got? It's, oh, here we go.
Whining morons, hear them cry. Never face you eye to eye. One-on-one, they'd get knocked down. Antifa is a bunch of clowns. Safety pins upon their chest. Have no jobs, not like the rest. They pay no bills, don't pay their way. Those idiots should go away. They wear their masks and scream and yell, throwing punches not very well. The internet is where they fight. They hate the fact I have gun rights. Whining morons, hear them cry. They'll never face you eye to eye. One-on-one, they'd get knocked down. Antifa is a bunch of clowns. They think they're tough and try to scare. I tilt my head and laugh and stare. Pepper spray teenage girls. Someday they'll meet the real world. Whining morons, hear them cry. They'll never face you eye to eye. One-on-one, they'd get knocked down. Antifa is a bunch of clowns.